Good evening, Googlers of the Round Table. My name is Georgina Dean from GEG Amman, and we are here to join you at Global GEG for Googlers of the Round Table. Let's see who we are joined today by for the new normal. I am joined today by Good evening, Stacy.
Good morning, my lady. I'm Stacy Klein. I'm with GEG SoCal and Global GEG, and I'm a teacher in the San Antonio Unified School District. And the new normal, we just finished our first 6 weeks of truly virtual learning, and we've had a magical experience. Our students are amazing, and I'm excited to be here today.
I cannot wait to learn about your magical experience from that beautiful castle behind you in your virtual classroom. Welcome, Stacy. And who else do we have joining us today at Knights of the Round Table?
Hey, I'm Bonnie Chalette. I'm from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I work in a rather large district with about 40,000 kids, and we are transitioning to the hybrid learning model. All of our K through 12 kids will be doing hybrid as of next week.
That is wonderful. Well, welcome, Lady Bonnie, all the way from Louisiana. And we are excited to learn from your hybrid experiences today. Okay, let's see who else is joining us as a Knight of the Round Table.
Hi, this is Maria from Lakes Entrance, Victoria, Australia. I'm a primary STEM teacher, and we're moving from remote learning back to on-site learning.
Wow, welcome Lady Maria all the way from down under. What a treat at the round table today. We are excited to learn about your transition. Welcome. Who else is joining us today?
Hello. So I've gone for the new normal. We're in school teaching, so this is like normal now, wearing a mask constantly, trying to not steam up my glasses. I'm Andy, I'm GG UK, and we are back in school in England, in the northwest of England, where I teach in a private school. So I'm gone for the Knight of the Wren table. There's a Star Wars reference for you all.
I like it.
I love it. Well, welcome, Sir Andy. And hopefully your glasses remain unfoggy for today's episode.
It's got to come off already.
There you go. All right. Who else is joining us for the round table this evening or this morning?
Sir JP.
Good morning, lords and ladies and noblemen and princesses and your highness. All the way from G. Montana, B.B. Williams. There's nothing normal about my...
I shall remember my delay all the way from Jordan to reach North America roundtable. So thank you for joining us, JP. And who else do we have joining us for the roundtable today? And our roundtable is complete. Shall we begin, Knights?
Yeah.
Yay. All right, let's go ahead and start. We have an exciting session for everybody today, talking about all things post back to school. So we're taking a look at what is coming next after back to school and what has been most important. Shall we see what our viewers shared with us in Twitter today? And welcome also to our viewers joining the roundtable from different parts of the world. We have Shannon joining from California, and we have Abid joining from England, UK also, and we have Mel joining from Australia, and also Den joining us. This is wonderful. So welcome to all of our Googlers from different parts of the world. And today we're talking all about what is the biggest area of focus after back to school. So we, as always, polled our wonderful professional learning community and asked, what was the biggest vote? So we had communication, work-life balance, instructional practices, and distance learning to hybrid transitions. So let's see what our biggest vote was. And it looks like at 33.7%, we had distance learning to hybrid transitions. And I think you guys would agree, right, Knights of the Round Table, that all of this back and forth with the numbers and going between distance learning and hybrid, that's probably going to be our biggest area coming back after post back to school, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and I think it's something that may be revisited more than once.
And I think on this list, it's the newest. You know, like we've all been talking about communication, instructional practices, that kind of stuff. But this hybrid thing is just new to everybody. So it's just, and it's the biggest thing I know right now in my district that we're talking about.
I agree. And I think it's interesting because also our viewers in the chat are saying that some of the different answers like work-life balance is really important. And that could be really critical, especially for our families, right, that are currently working parents. So like teachers in the education system or admins that are also parents. And so this is a big area as well. However, we are definitely going to take a look at all of these different answers. So we have here our wonderful Googlers and their connection. So if you'd like to connect with any of the Knights, the Googler Knights at the round table, then you can reach us at those handles coming next on the slide. So as we look at the new normal. Okay, so you can reach us at any of those Twitter handles and any of our GEG Twitter handles as well. And let's take a look now at question number 1. Okay, Knights, we will be calling on each of you. So the first question for today is, how can teachers maintain that work-life balance when technology creates more accessibility for teachers and students alike? And who would like to start first?
I would.
Very polite, Maria.
I think that it's important to put clear expectations for yourself and your students in place. So work out what is a reasonable time to respond, what hours are reasonable. I think it's important to discipline yourself for some me time and make sure you take your breaks like you would in the physical setting.
Yeah,
I think that's so. Go ahead, Andy.
Sure. Yeah, I can't agree more. I've had some really interesting chats. Obviously, with us being back at school, we've got this weird thinking in the background we might get sent home at any point kind of thing. So there's a lot of emphasis being put. There's 2 of us that are Google trainers at school. There's another couple that have done some Google level 2 stuff. So we're kind of getting dragged all the time. Can you do an 8 o'clock meeting on this? Can you do a lunchtime on this? Can you do an after school on this? And it's like, yeah, I can, but at the moment, you're sapping all of my time for other things and at school. So it's having a big impact on work at home. So I think we have to be really mindful of that. I had a really interesting, I had a really interesting thing the other day. I was marking homework on Classroom, and one of the kids came in the next day and he said to me, Mr. Lumley, you woke me up at 1 o'clock in the morning with your homework being sent back to me. What are you marking work at 1 in the morning? I was like, that wasn't me. That must be Google sending it back to you automatically at some time. That wasn't me. I'm asleep, which is what you should be. But it led us to have a nice conversation with the kids about silencing your phone, silencing your devices. When you go to bed, get it off, turn it off, go to sleep. You don't need to be woken up by anything. They have to look after themselves.
Yeah, our kids definitely need, that's a really neat point you brought up, Andy. Our students really need that because the number one check-in thing my students will tell me in the morning is, because we do that wonderful on a scale of duck, how are you feeling today? And when I get an 8 or a 9, thankfully it's because they're sleepy. And so I'm like, try to go to bed by 10 because you're going to be ready in the morning. And yay.
And it's a very interesting point. Stephanie's joining us Stephanie's from California, right? GEG. Yes, Stephanie, and she is sharing about the notifications also, that if you don't see it, it won't necessarily get actioned, right? So it is definitely important, but it's so true about notifications. And what's really interesting is that you, depending on the device that the students have at home, is that they can also set to have all notifications on or off. So it is tricky. I know down here in this part of the world, in Jordan, Android devices are quite more popular than Apple, for example. And so we have some Chromebooks and a lot of Android devices. And so supporting our parent and family communities with the different ways that they can turn their notifications on and off really has been key.
You know, Georgina, I just read a study a few weeks ago about needing to put the phone physically away, like either in a bag or in another room, because we're so connected to this device. It's powerful and it's useful. There's no criticism of that. But if you don't physically move it away from you, it's constantly drawing you. And so in order to like truly unplug, put it somewhere away where you're not tempted to check it like one more time. So that kind of helps give some space as well.
I love that. I love that, Stacy. That whole idea about physical distance and space is so important. And JP, what would you have to say about this idea?
Well, roundtablers in the future where I exist, we are really, really talking about communication. So, and expectations. So letting students and colleagues know these are the specific times you can really reach me. Here's my Google Calendar. Really, really making a point that people who need to have access to the Google Calendar that you control have that access so they can actually see what's going on and make appropriate appointments and appropriate times to with you. And then letting children know, hey, after 4 o'clock, unless it's a major, major problem, it'll be okay until tomorrow. Take the family. That's been really helpful.
I love that, JP. Family first.
It's neat to watch us talk right now, because now after the first months of learning to work with StreamYard, you tend to talk over each other. Now we're like poignantly waiting for a pause where you could speak without talking over someone. It's very touching.
I think I'm the only one that's left, and I saw that. I know Georgina also like lives by her calendar and is super organized. I'm not the best at it, but I definitely think I'm a lot better. And there's something that Stephanie R and I were talking about the other day. This year, I worked on like planning for each day's crisis. Like I didn't pack my calendar from 8 till 4:30. Like I left the room for every day the stuff that's gonna come up that day, because I'd like. In the past, I've been really bad about that. Like, I'll just be like, I can do all of these things. And then, this new problem would come up and I didn't have space for it. So now I have like today's emergency space. And that really helped me.
I love that, Bonnie. I hadn't even thought about that. I call it like, emergency space. This is fantastic. And so make sure you block off time. I've been thinking recently about making sure I block off, well-being time on the weekends to make sure that I rest, but during every work day as well. That's a very great idea. I'm going to piggyback onto that, Bonnie. Thank you.
Yeah. Today's crisis.
There you go. I love that.
That is so wonderful. Princess Bonnie, that is incredible. I do the same thing. I have a 7:30 planning period, 7:30 a.m. And then I go into 11:30 to 1:30 for emergency situational awareness, and then do a 3:30 time. And wow, you're so smart, Princess.
We bring only the best of the best to Googlers of the Round Table, right, guys?
Yay. It's funny, Georgina, I know all as educators, like when Andy was grading papers at 1 a.m, we know you were grading papers, Andy. I think Global GED, we all get a collective 3 hours of sleep each night. But my husband used to call me at school and say, is my wife coming home today? And so we're always on. So virtual learning has really fit well, because I'm still doing the 15-hour days, but I'm not having to commute. And so that's kind of neat. But because if you're not moving out of your space, you need to set a timer. And my husband has a ship's clock. So it goes ding, ding every quarter hour. And so it's like, it's time to stand up. And so go do some burpees or go do some, squats or something, and make sure you pull yourself away from your beloved computer, because it'll still be there and you might not get a sore neck.
I love that. The ships is kind of like a ship spell. Yeah, something like that. I love that idea, especially for Googlers of the Roundtable. Love that, Stacy. Thank you. Okay, Googlers, let's take a look at our question number 2 for today. How are you collating data from your school community to maintain best practices? Some of those best practices including parent feedback and workload and different things. So we already, I know, talked about at a previous roundtable how communication really is key. So how are we going to curate and collect and collate that data, guys? So it looks like JP would like to go first. Go ahead, JP.
Yeah, what I've been able to do is set a time weekly and daily for communication. So really training our community when they can really get in touch with me as a school administrator, or when they can get in touch with teachers. Also doing a weekly newsletter with all the updates and changes. And there's a lot every week that's happening. If you take just one day, there's so much that happens. But if you condense 5 days of the week or 7 days of the week into one bulletin, there's a lot there. And keep it to one page, a simple one page with the most important information. And always let families and students, parents, teachers know that they can always count on you to get back to them reasonably quick or soon when they have questions.
I love that, like a daily updates notice board. That's wonderful, JP. Who else has some ideas they'd like to share?
Well, we're in an interesting, obviously, because we're all back at school. So for us, we're just as if it's normal at the moment. So we're getting it from the kids, we're getting it exactly as we have done. So again, we're in this, like when we were on lockdown from March, we had a weekly kind of teachers checking in with their heads of year to say whether or not the students were making work, and then the heads of year were contacting parents and having that contact, which kind of left the teachers a little bit out of the loop, if you like. We were just saying this kid's not doing the work they need to do, and then it was gone, and we didn't hear anything else about it. So one of the things we're looking at is, well, how do we improve that if and when we get back on remote lockdown again? So yeah, at the moment we're just as normal getting it from the kids and learning that way, but in the background having to think really hard, what can we do? So like things like JP just said and things like Steph said, with the weekly newsletter, they're the things that we need to kind of adapt and bring in that we didn't do last time to help improve all that kind of communication stuff.
And I like that how you said it's kind of like a silver lining, right, Andy? Things that you may not have done previously and that you're bringing now to the table. So congratulations. And that's what this is all about, right, Googlers and Knights, is that we are taking everything and moving forward and growing as we go. That's awesome.
That's teaching, right? That's, we train maths teachers at our school. And one of them said to me the other day, what happens if I plan too much and it goes wrong? I was like, then you've planned the next lesson. Like, you've done enough for the next lesson. You learn from it. Teaching is constantly evaluating what's happening in your classroom. So this is all just what's happening in your school. We have to just adapt that same thing.
Yeah. Having too much planned is way better than running out of work.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Yeah, exactly. And
definitely better.
Yeah, that's awesome. Andy, that's really cool, because it's like teaching is also continually failing forward. Like if something doesn't work on a lesson, the next day I'm like, oh, well, I didn't do that as good as I could have done. I never feel like something the students didn't get. I always feel like if it didn't work, or the students, if they don't have an A in my class, it's like, I need to do something differently. And that's what's so fun about this career, is like it's continually okay to try something and then try something different and then correct it. Speaking on data really fast, our district in Santa Ana Unified we're a district about 50,000. We're a big district like Bonnie's, and our leadership and our curriculum specialists and our principals and stuff, they're very, very in contact with the community. They're polling all the time. They're always sending out questionnaires and seeing, how do you feel now? Because it's going to change. Maybe you felt this way a week ago. We're getting ready to go to hybrid. And we're going to start our littles after Thanksgiving, which in the United States is at the end of November. And then our 6th through 12th graders will start back in hybrid in January. And part of the reason is we're a COVID hotspot in California. So, but they're always asking, it's like, would you like to do this or that? Because we have a lot of extremely needy youth. And so we're going to start doing small groups in clusters at schools so they can get extra assistance, because it's very important that, we reach our most vulnerable students. And so that's really neat. And then I do a daily poll in the morning. I ask them how they're feeling, what do they need school-wise, and what kind of technical equipment they need. And they know it's totally confidential. So you can tell me anything and I will get you to the right adult who can help you out. And it works really well. I'm getting some really good feedback from the kiddos.
I love this whole idea of daily poll as well, Stacy. This is fantastic. And we talked before in other episodes about the importance of that well-being check-in. And I love that you just keeping that going and always keeping them at the forefront. So really well done. And Maria, what are your thoughts on that?
So we were lucky enough to have the opportunity to assess data, but not lucky enough to do remote learning twice. But from the first time, we had sent out through Google Forms a poll, and also the government had sent out information as well for the parents. And so we analysed all that feedback. We had a whole staff meeting and we went through all that feedback and made changes for our 2.0 remote learning. We also, I had created a Google form to take attendance, because at our school, we still take paper attendance. So I created a form, and in that form, if there was any concerns, either tech support or welfare was escalated as well.
Oh, Maria, I'm so glad.
I love how you just
attendance.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I know there's a bit of a delay. Go ahead, JP. What would you like to say about attendance? It is a hot topic right now.
There's a delay because in the future, I have to send data back to round table. So there's a delay.
Let's not bring Planet up now, JP.
We were able to actually create a new code. And here's a killer idea. So in your operating system, however you are managing your school data, in attendance, if you can create a code with an R for remote or a V for virtual. So you know how normally you would check P for present, A for absent. But the R or the V is letting us know that they were remote or they were in virtual sessions. So we're able to actually capture that data into a spreadsheet, CDS file, and really analyze, where do we need to support the children who are not necessarily checking in? So you want to go beyond a check-in. You want engagement, right? You want to have kids engaged. So you have to really explain that to children. Hey, it's not enough to just check in. I want you engaged. I need you engaged in what we're doing. This is so important. And the kids, they get it. Andy, you've been in class and you've had kids there. And maybe, did you see when they came back from break or from lockdown, how much children needed to be in school, and they may not be able to express it like, I'm so happy to be here. Kids won't say that, but you can see the look on the face. You can see the shine in their eyes, the smiles, the way they feel around their friends. And that is engagement. It's so important.
Yeah, true. Really true.
I love that, JP. And I really liked your idea for the school's information system, how you had mentioned like the V and the P for attendance checkers. I think that would also help in supporting the mindset of the educators as well that are taking the registration. And so thank you for sharing that really great tip. Mel is saying that she also emails the parents of her students once a week with an update, and also saying that they could check in with her on how students are doing. And I know Andy said basically the same thing in the chat too. So really great ideas, guys. Let's hop on to question number 3 for today's roundtable, all about what we're doing to support, hopefully, seamless transitions going between remote, online, and hybrid learning. So this was our hot topic according to our audience poll today. And so let's just tackle how everybody's handling it, and let's throw our top-notch strategies out there to support our viewers. So who would like to kick us off?
I can go ahead and go.
Thanks, Bonnie.
Yay. So we are, like I said, we went, all of our elementary schools have already shifted to hybrid. And shout out to the East Baton Rouge Fair school teachers because they have been killing it. And then my department, serves everybody. The secondary is going next week. And it's been a lot of planning. And we've really, I think the schools that have fared the best have worked with innovation, not thought about how we've always done it, have kind of cleared the slate and said, what are we going to do in this brand new situation? And not just thought of how can we change what we used to do. And then we made some videos too, at each level. We found some really great teachers, that we went and filmed them teaching in the hybrid version, and we got some students to come in and worked it out. And then we've had a lot of positive feedback from that, having an actual video with the same equipment they have. Here's how you can do it. So we've had a lot of success with that as well, and just really offering training constantly, and hey, what do you need and stuff. And I've had some trainings where I said the wrong thing and they let me know. I was like, oh, I'm sorry, I was wrong. Take it back. But we've had teachers show up and stuff, and so it's really been great to watch. I know everybody's so stressed, but to just watch how educators just took it on and are just killing it.
I really love that, Bonnie, how you celebrated not only all the educators at your school and your district, but also how you celebrated the fact that it was okay if things didn't work well. And I think this is the biggest tip that I have for schools that are working on this transition for myself, is that it must be okay if things don't go well. That if you have those parents commenting and saying, hey, this is not okay, what about this, support your staff, support everybody, and just say, hey, no, this is awesome. We are taking a big risk here to do things that we were not actually trained to do when we went to university or college to become educators. Yeah.
And especially my little elementary people, my pre-K people, and they're so used to being in the tangible world, that I've gone and helped them be tomorrow is going to be a different day. It's okay. It's going to mess up. Just in the personal, we were just saying, your friend was saying, Andy, that they planned what if it would go wrong face to face too. It's just, everybody's just nervous. I spend a lot of my day going it's okay. You're fine. It's fine. Nothing's on fire. We're good.
I like that. You inspired me to maybe make a sign that says, it's fine. You're doing good. I like that. Just carried around on my.
I started ending my emails. I was talking about this, and then I'm going to stop talking for real, not for fake. With, hey, how are you? Is there anything I can do to help? Guys, we got to check on teachers more. They were I got these outpouring, oh my God, thank you so much for asking. And I was like, I might just change my email signature and put this, because it made everybody's day. So check on a teacher in the hybrid environment.
That's fantastic. That's so cool that you do that, because you're making people feel like it's not supposed to be right. This isn't a normal. This isn't, we haven't just gone to online education. We're dealing with a crisis. And so
crisis, yes.
Consider it a success.
Yeah, it's really interesting because, like I said before, we're now training new maths teachers at our school. We started doing that this year, and we had big questions. Do we do it? Do we start this year, or do we delay by a year? Because At the end of the day, we don't know what we're doing at the moment. We've got no idea. All of a sudden, I teach in groups. I've always taught in groups. I like collaboration. Now the kids are sitting on their own desk. They're all got to look forward. They're cleaning desks twice a lesson to make sure they're sanitized. And so we're trying to train these teachers. And I said to them on the first session before the kids came back, I was like, we're going to train you as best we can in everything we've learned in, of all of our experience. At the end of the day, we've never taught like this. No one's ever taught like this. This is not normal. So you're going to see things go wrong. You're going to see things which aren't normal, and teachers are going to panic. That's just life. That we get on with it. We learn from it. We move on. We ask each other. We talk to each other, and we help each other. Like Bonnie said, that is the most important thing. If something goes wrong in normality in the classroom, you go to someone, you say, right, this didn't work. What would you do in that situation? Yeah, everyone seems to kind of panic and go, oh my God, I can't use technology. I'm just really scared to do anything. Just ask. That's all it is. We're all here to help whenever we can. So we've been lucky might not be the right word. All of our teacher time, all of our teacher meetings have been about getting ready for remote learning again, and what can we change from last time? What have we learned? And we had a student test positive, so 2 year groups have been at school for 2 weeks, off school for 2 weeks. They've been at home, so we've been forced straight into remote teaching for those classes. And it's been amazing how many staff have just gone, it's worked so much better this time. I already know how this works. I know how Google Meet works. I know how I can manage the classroom. People are starting to use 2 screens and finding that just amazingly helpful. Easier than just having one screen, take advantage of something. So the learning that we've had already is huge. And now these kids are coming back to school next week, which is great because we can see them in person again. But everyone feels so much more calm and so much better than we did 6 months ago when this first happened. And we have now, Bonnie, like you say, we have that willingness of people now to kind of go, oh, it's all right to ask for help, because it's okay that I don't know how Google Meet works properly, or that I've never really got gripped with Google Classroom. And they'll just go, Andy, can you help with this? Or Luke, you're the trainer, can you help with this? And we just go, of course we can. And that's what we need. Like you would do in normality, you have to do that now in this situation.
Our district, we were planning on going hybrid, and then the virus got much worse for our county. We were all back in lockdown. And so we had to pivot to virtual in like 2 weeks before school started. And because everything was set up for hybrid, we're ready to go when hybrid starts. The schedules are great. The way to distance the students, things are all set up. And so that's already set. But to pivot to virtual, we did just so much PD. There's so much PD. Every day I'll be in 2 meetings. I'll have one computer on one meeting and another, and interacting with both. And you're getting used to that. And so for us especially, we've always had Canvas. We've been in G Suite for Education District for years. And this is the time that we have where we all have to use these tools. And so it's been like a luxury almost that everyone's becoming an expert. And so the teachers that were maybe intrepid explorers into technology are becoming experts. My students are experts in everything. And it's been a very special time that we're all learning this. So I'm glad that for 6th through 12th grade, we won't start until January, because now it's normal and it's comfortable. And when we go back, all of our curriculum can still be delivered in a hybrid model so that every kid gets what they need when they need it. And then we'll also be in person for all of our hands-on stuff.
I love that, Stacy. And JP, you had some ideas you wanted to add to the transition solutions as well.
So here's that magical moment of love that's going to go out to the world. Okay, this is a magical moment. What everybody's saying is so correct, right? It's so correct what everybody's saying. And I really like what Stacy said about the preparation and the PD. As a school leader, what I'm always concerned about is burning my teachers out. So we take PD in increments, and it's slow because teachers naturally, we want to get in, we want to get the material out, and we want everybody to master it, and then we want to move on to something new, right? But here's the magic in the transitions. Remember your foundations for education. first and foremost in all of this, safety. We're not going to risk the life of a child or a teacher or a staff member to rush through anything. Safety first, and assure the children that they are safe, that the learning environment you're using, whether it's in person or virtual, is safe. Teach them how to be safe. Teach them the correct actions and the pitfalls to avoid in every step of this. Okay, so safety. And then another foundation of education is community, right? You have to rebuild your communities, whether that's in person or virtual, and that's going to take time. So workshops is a great idea. This came from a session with Becky Collin from GEG NorCal, and workshops in your plan, in your lesson planning. Think about 20-minute workshops, 15-minute workshops. Hey guys, we're going to do a workshop. We're going to step away from the academic side. I want to check on how you guys are doing with all of this stress, with the emotions. Where do you need support? How have you been dealing with all this? And just allowing educators or students or staff members to come together in those workshops and really express themselves is so important. So those basic foundations, safety and community and love, that's important.
I love the extra emphasis on love, JP, and I don't think I'll ever meet another person again who could possibly emphasize it with so much passion that you give it. And I know our audience is probably thinking the same thing. So thank you for that. Maria, welcome back. I know you popped into the future for a little bit with JP. That's quite a big jump for you from down under. So welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you. I think in our environment, it was really because the staff weren't exposed or weren't embracing a lot of ed tech before COVID. So that is my silver lining. So I would constantly let them know or tell them how proud I was of what they had achieved and keep reminding them where they started and, you know, reflect on what they've done for themselves and to try encourage them not to slip back in the old ways. Start using this when we return back to school for the students as well, so they don't lose those skills. But also look out for those, I call them my poster boy or girls, those that had a big growth, and use them as examples. Have you ever seen that video clip where it's a dance, like a music festival, and there's the first guy that comes up and dances, and then they say how important the first couple of followers after that first person that was brave to dance are just as important as that first person. So I'm looking for those first couple of followers to lead to the first one that took a plunge into being vulnerable.
That's a great point. I like that. I like it.
I totally agree.
That's
this
cool.
is brilliant. Like, just roll on one right after the other. I love that, Maria. Way to go. Soup, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Absolutely.
Woo-hoo!
It's a brilliant point to end that question on. So if anybody else who's viewing, joining the roundtable from abroad, who's going to try Maria's note, please tag her and us and let us know how that rolls for you guys. Okay, we're down to our final question, guys, for Googlers of the Roundtable. How are you shifting your instructional practices to meet the needs of both your students and your colleagues at school? So really good question to tie in after we talked about our transitioning. How are we going to support that shift? Does it change, and how so?
It's a hard question, Georgina.
I know.
It's a hard question. If we knew this, if anybody knows this answer, you need to write it down and sell it in a book because people are listening.
Big time, right? Big time.
But I think that's a perfect answer, Bonnie, because I don't think there's a right or wrong answer, right? And I think because each of our schools are all in different situations with that transition from question 3 that we were talking about, therefore, the instruction practices as educators, like Andy said, first and foremost, goes back to the core, then it will adapt for each of us. But we can certainly share some strategies, right?
Yes, definitely. And I think teachers put so much pressure on themselves, like to be perfect. Like if you were at a bakery and you baked 2 dozen cookies, you would be like, if you messed one up, you would be like, okay, teachers will harp on that one that's messed up. Like they will be like, it's ruined. I left this kid out. Like, and so, you know, it's different. I feel like in this profession, people put more pressure on themselves, I think, than any other profession. Like other people go home at night and sleep well. Teachers are stressing about this kind of stuff. So come on, I'm listening. JP, you have the answer? I'm ready. I'm ready to hear it.
What kind of cookies? Because cookies are just you need to burn them too.
He's making me hungry, I'll tell you.
I want to give you a concept, and it's funny you bring up cookies, right? So think of what you're doing in all of this as chemistry and cooking. So you have flour, you have sugar, you have baking soda or baking powder, you have chocolate chips, right? That's all raw ingredients, right? And then you mix those and you have cookie batter, cookie dough, but then you have to cook those again to get to a final product. And then you may not be sure if that final product is good because, as you said, not every cookie is going to be perfect, right? But the transitions of, I guess we say learning, I think that's a new term, new learning. We have virtual learning, remote learning, but this is new learning. What everybody's doing is new learning, okay? So I've been throwing that out there. This is new learning, not the old learning, not the 3 R's, writing, reading, arithmetic. This is new learning, okay? We can't lecture for 20, 30 minutes, 40 minutes like we would have lectured. That doesn't work anymore. You have these kids for a short amount of time, whether it's in person or virtual. They have so much going on. Their brains are still developing. They are processing so much. 5 to 7 minute blast of information that is standards based. 5 to 7 minutes. Allow them to talk about it, to come back, circle around, and to really have a quick discussion for 3 to 5 minutes, and then a new topic, right? That's still in that same standard. So, you know, if we're talking about the Declaration of Independence, nobody wants to hear the teacher talk about, well, they met in Independence Hall and it was secretive. And kids aren't going to listen to that for 45 minutes in a lecture. But what they'll listen to is there were secret meetings. It was in Philadelphia. You guys saw the movie Rocky. It was in Philadelphia, right? Where the Fresh Prince came from, right? Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And these people were involved, you know, Thomas Jefferson, right? John Adams, Washington, these people were involved. Now you guys talk about it. Go on to Google, look up some information, converse. I'm going to give you 3 minutes. And as they're doing that, you can check in on their chats virtually. Or if you're in person, you can listen to what's going on. And that's what the transition of new learning looks like. And then I love what Shannon Moore was saying was that, you know, it's a new pedagogy and that this is different. However we did it from 1875, 1880 up until 2019, okay? But this is new. This is 2020 and beyond, new learning. Teach that to your students.
I love that, JP. And you had a lot of love in the chat, as you always do, from Stephanie and Shannon, agreeing with the new learning. And I think that's really spot on. Also, as Stephanie mentioned. And really, that's what we do as educators, right? We're always looking for the next best thing for our students. And so as long as we keep that learning journey going, we are absolutely going to find the best solutions for our students and to share with our educators. So I am not worried at this roundtable, nor with the Googlers joining from abroad. Would anybody else like to add any tips and tricks to this really growing? Andy's got a whole bunch. Okay, Andy, hit us. Virtually.
Yeah, it just really hit me, like the biggest problem we have, those of us that are a part of this community and who have kind of got together since January, February when this all started, we're of the ilk where we'll try stuff. We're happy to just get stuck in and try something. If it doesn't work, we're confident enough. We've taken it upon ourselves to train up, to do things, to ask people to join a Twitter PLN where we can get advice. We can ask people. So we're there. We're quite happy to do that stuff. But I'd say in our school, we've probably still got, 75% of our staff who teach traditionally. So for them, the baby steps that we have to take in helping them to do this remote learning is, well, how can we help you do what you were doing even in the first place, just digitally? So let's forget about, redefining or reimagining in the SAMR model type thing. Let's forget about all that stuff. Let's just literally substitute right now. Let's get them over that first hurdle. Let's get work. People coming back to school this year are still photocopying worksheets. We're not allowed to touch paper for 24 hours after a kid gives it to us. We've got to quarantine stuff. So it's like, well, why are people using worksheets? Because that's what they do. And that's what they've always done. And now we're back in person. They can still do it again. So we have to kind of have these baby steps and teach people that it's okay just to go to Jamboard rather than using your whiteboard. Share your screen on the device, or share your device, on your whiteboard, and just work on Jamboard digitally. We've all got the technology at school to do that. And then the kids can access that. And it's one tiny baby step. You're not doing anything different. You're still writing on a board. You're still doing this, but you're actually sharing that live with the kids in classroom. Tiny, tiny thing. And all of a sudden it just gets them to go, oh, I really like Jamboard. What else could I do? I'm just interested in what's the next thing I could try. And then, you're into that whole idea of the coaching model. So I think what we have to be aware that there's so many of our staff, a huge number of our staff who are not happy to just try the tech. They just need leading into the basic ideas where they can carry on doing what they were doing, which they know is successful. You've got people talk for the last 30, 40 years and it's never been wrong. So it's not wrong now. But they're all of a sudden, how the hell do I do that on Google Meet? Well, actually, this little thing, you can try this. Just try this now. Try this in class in person, and then we'll move on from there. And I think we just have to be really mindful that for us that are happy to do it, there's a hell of a lot of people who aren't.
Yep. I like the baby steps point. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
And I love also how you just took that SAMR model that usually scares a lot of people new to ed tech, and you were like, let's just drop that down and let's give them substitution.
Yeah.
If they need substitution, let's give it to them. And we're always saying, right, guys, how we need to meet our learners on their playing field. Well, we need to meet our educators on their playing field too. So spot on, Andy. Thank you very much. Who else would like to add to this awesome growing toolkit of solutions? We have some nice ideas in the chat. Go ahead, Maria.
Just a little thing, but a big thing at the same time is just doing a bit of a quick screencastify or quick videos, whatever program you want to use, even for tech supporting the staff. It was just so much easier rather than giving written instructions via an email, just to quickly do a screencastify and send that to them. And they found that far more easier to follow, and they can play back. And that was the same with students as well, and with instruction, doing quick, short videos that you create yourself was effective.
Yay.
I love that. And also there's nothing wrong with asking our students also if they would like to make instructional videos. Often if you let the students, step into the shoes of the teacher and let them own the learning, you can also ask them to create awesome screencasts too. That has been really successful at my school. So thank you for sharing that, Maria. Who else would like to add some more tips? Kim saying in the chat, don't throw out those worksheets. Awesome. We definitely need to make sure that we recycle and take care of the planet. All right, Stacey, what would you like to add?
Oh, I'm glad you brought up Kim's, because it's not that the worksheet was ever bad. You know, people say don't make this a worksheet time, and it's like the content was awesome. It's like Kim said, it's the way don't grade it. You know, shift it to Edu protocols, or shift it to, you know, do your elbow partners in breakout rooms and things like that. Use an open slide deck in Google Slides, and you can stick kids in breakout rooms and you can see everybody's working on it, because you can open all the slide deck right there. If you use Google Meet, you can open up 15 Google Meets and see every little group and watch what they're doing. So there's ways to do
Your brain
the
is
old.
better than mine. I couldn't open up 15 meets. That sounds
No,
terrible.
yeah. But there's like ways that you can still do the wonderful pedagogy you did before using these new tools. The one thing I wanted to bring up for number 4, which is really profound to me, is something that we all know, and it's really emphasized by all of you here, and then Shannon and Steph Rothstein in the chat, is relationship building. And I have been helping one of my little students, and she was very reluctant to come to school, and so I got my Google Voice, which is my new teacher best friend, and called, and she's been coming. And then she wasn't there this Monday, and I found out that she's in one of our children's mental hospitals. And I was crushed. I thought, she's only 12, but we were calling, and then I've been working with our FACE counselor, that's our outreach counselor, and was really happy, and she came to my class virtually, and in the chat she wrote, "I'm still in the mental hospital, but I'm so happy to be here with you guys." And then you know, she said, "Miss Klein, you're my favorite teacher," and I was just like, oh. And so those relationships are so important, because they're struggling, and they're struggling because their Wi-Fi is really bad, and they're struggling. We give them hotspots and we give them Chromebooks. Mm-hmm. They have everything they need, but if you've tried to learn on a little, you know, 12-inch Chromebook and a spotty hotspot, you know, it's really hard. And then position that through going through adolescence. So those relationships, if my student isn't in my virtual classroom every single day, I'm on Google Voice on another computer, and they get right back in, and their parents are happy, and everybody's just feels like they're all in. And so I just can't stress that enough, that's one thing that's really shifted with my instructional practices, is this year, like, it's not like I'm waiting a few days, it's like that day we're handling it, and we're making sure that child is getting what they need, and the family too.
Oh,
I love that, Stacy. Relationships are so important. Here comes JP with the love. Go on, JP. Give it to us.
Stacy, wow. Relationship 101. Don't let a kid go a day, 2 days, 3 days without reaching out and knowing what's going on. Be in contact with the parents, the grandparents, whoever their caretaker is. Number one in all of this that I've seen just literally make the difference is when a child knows that you truly care, that they are the center of your world. And you have so many students that you are helping out, but that one student that you're helping one at a time, they have to be the center of your universe, and they need to know that these are the key words. You know what? You are so important to me. I need you in every class. I need you to be successful. I'm here to help you. You are great, and you are so smart, and you've done such great work. I know this is hard, but hang in there. We are going to get through this. And kids will respond. They will respond to love. They will.
Mm-hmm.
I love that, JP. And you're right. They will engage if they feel valued, appreciated, and cared for. And that's all we need to do. So Stacy's little reach out on Google Voice, if you send an email, whatever strategy you need to reach out, as long as that happens, they will engage with you. So thank you for your confirmation on that, JP. And Maria, I know Maria just dropped a really awesome last tidbit before we move on to the end of the show, which actually celebrates all of the amazing global GEG learning network. Maria, would you like to share to remind everybody what is at their fingertips?
Yeah, and take a look at the Google Junior Training Series that you'll see on the Global GEG website. I found that really beneficial. I put it out on our parent portal, but I also set it as assignments from year 1 to year 6. And the year 1s even were great at looking at those videos and giving it a go and handing it back in as an assignment for me. So it was awesome.
I love it, Maria. Thank you so much for reminding us, as also being one of the ones that added to that, and I know many did here on the round table today. I sometimes forget I've shared it so much that then it just, falls behind, but it's so true. It's still an invaluable tool as we move forward through the progression. And we talked about those instructional practices. All of those little Google Junior Training Series videos are certainly going to support that as well. So great call out there, Maria. We had a question in the chat from Aaron JP, where they're wondering if you could kindly repeat the foundation words that you said earlier in the show.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Aaron. Foundations, again, so important. Communication, okay? Just daily check in, those foundations of relationship building. And you have the foundation of teaching and learning, that connection, the teaching and learning. And I would say, too, that the teacher needs to learn from the students as well. It's not just I'm imparting all of this knowledge to you because I'm all knowing. No, I'm giving you what I know, and I need to know what you know, so I can become better at making sure you get what you need from me. So the symbiotic relationship of you need something and I need something as a teacher, and let's bring it together. I think that
I love it, JP.
Was that right, Bonnie?
I love it. I love it. And then I saw Neil deGrasse Tyson speak once a few years ago in New Orleans, when you could like go to big places and see people talk, and eons ago, and he said like teachers needed to maybe shift their mindset to becoming curators of knowledge and the internet. Like we're not the all-being people anymore. Now there's the internet. So now our job is to like curate that content and point them in the right directions and help them evaluate those sources, because like being all-knowing doesn't even matter anymore, because everybody has it in their pocket. So I've always
I agree more with you.
Yeah, it was a cool thought, and that was before all this. This was, like I said, a few years ago. But like that idea now, teachers like we're on the what is that, the guide on the side instead of the sage on the stage. Like we're more the curators now than like the yeah.
I love that. I don't know if anybody else at the round table or in the audience has ever been called Mr. or Mrs. Google, but I certainly have. So it's always good to say, yes, go back to Google and check out and go back to your professional learning network and see where are the answers and how do we help support them to search and navigate that content. So great points there, Bonnie. So Googlers at the round table, it looks like it is the end of today's round table. And so I'd like to thank each of you for joining the session today, for your invaluable input. And it just has been absolutely on fire in the chat today, with love for all of your suggestions. And I know that myself included, I'm going to be taking a couple of new ideas that you've brought to the table back to my own school to support with the current new normal. So thank you very much for all of your input. Those of us who are joining in the chat, please feel free to share your feedback with us, because we are always looking for new topics for the upcoming sessions, and also ways that we can improve our roundtable. So please feel free. Our next roundtable will also be at the end of October on Saturday the 31st. So mark your calendars, Googlers, share out the link with your professional learning networks. We would love everybody to join us from more time zones, from the future or the past, all in one virtual space. So do share that link out with everybody.
Got to be Halloween on that, surely, right? We're dressing up for that.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
I'm going to be a wizard, because we're doing Google Sheets Wizardry for Muggles after that too. Full day with the Global GEG.
Yay.
I love it. Okay, let's do a full dress up, guys. And those of you in the audience who are watching and going to be joining, even if you watch it on replay, I would encourage all of you to dress up and share your Googlers of the Round Table Halloween selfie just before the show,
Oh,
so
I
we
like
can
it. I like it. I
celebrate
like it.
everybody that joins us in the chat. Yes, we will have an ongoing deck. In fact, we'll talk about this off air, the best way to do it, but we could definitely have an editable deck and everybody can just load their Halloween selfies. That would be so cool. And of course, all googly. All right, awesome. A lot of love for that idea in the chat. Yay, that's great. Thanks for the reminder, Andy. Hadn't even thought of it.
I just like dressing up.
That's that
I
beautiful.
can wear my cap with though. That's the only problem.
I love it. Okay, guys, so that is a wrap for
Andy's
today.
a
Please
dude.
share.
He's a dude.
Andy's awesome. Yes, you're all awesome. And I am so grateful and honored to be joined by you guys today and to share in this lovely roundtable every month. So thank you very much. Guys, please take a few minutes of your time to make sure you fill in the GEG Global feedback form, and we will drop that link in the chat for you as well. We appreciate your feedback and your support every month with us here on the show. And that's it. So from all of us at Googlers of the Roundtable, stay safe, stay googly, and we'll see you next month.
Yay.
Bye all.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Yay.